Hello again. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. We are still in our hashtag ABC April 2025. This has been just an awesome collaborative event, and it has stimulated me with lots of ideas. I love it. So, whether you saw it or not, I produced two videos for today. The first one was sewing this signatures, this safari cover. So it's a fa sewn fabric cover with cardboard inside, and I will put the link to that other video because I did that first, but I'm publishing two videos today. I've actually worked on this journal for 4 days, and not the whole of 4 days, but quite a bit of 4 days. I love it. I think it came out really cool. I can see where I might have made a couple of changes, so I'll talk about that. I'm basically going to do a flip through. This is about signatures for the Safari Journal. I made the cover for sewing, and that's a separate video. So let's go ahead and have a flip through here. And I did a whole lot of things I've never done before. So that's what I'm saying about this collaboration is that, yes, I've watched some of the other videos, but it's also stimulated me to do some experimenting and get things out that I hadn't used. And I've never made a belt before. I made a belt. I actually made a belt. It being, this one is a safari journal. I cleaned up my desktop. I'm going to show you a picture of my desktop. It was such a mess. But anyway, so I have never made a belt before. It was, it needed a belt. It needed a closure, but because my theme is the animals of Africa, and it was because of that paper pack that I had, and it needed a belt, and I had this this belt closure from a purse that gave it up. And the loop was still, I kept it all together. And the loop was, I could use it again. I mean, it was almost exactly the same color. So this is vinyl. I had a nice scrap of vinyl still, and I glued it. I glued it with the Beacon Fabric Tech. Worked perfect. I could just I cut what did I cut? I think it was just an inch and a half, and I just so that it would fit in here. And then I put in 3 eyelets so that if it gets fatter, there's room for it to grow. I've never made a little belt before. That was so fun. Okay, and we're sort of going from the outside in. And of course, it had to have beads. It just had to, right? So the cover is these are the elastics that I put in the 3 signatures. And I went ahead and I knotted the elastic on the outside. So the beads, the cord that's holding the beads is tying those elastics down. It's kind of a casual sort of thing, but it works. I think it looks really cool. So this is where I was saying I think there would have been a couple things I would have done differently if I had really planned this whole thing, but it kind of, well, it just evolved, all right? Because I've seen what Margreth does on Seven Plaza. If I had made this a little bit taller, like a half-inch taller, I could have put in eyelets and the elastic could have gone through the eyelets. This is a very sturdy spine. I've got 2 pieces of thick mat board inside there, so it's not going anywhere. And this is good upholstery fabric, so I think it's going to be just fine. But, it would have been nice if it hadn't been folded over so much. But it's still really nice. I'm really proud of this one. I think it came out beautifully. And so you can see that there's some extra fabric. There was enough fabric for me to really have a nice play with it. So let us go through it. So there's the outside. Let me check the camera. Okay, so there's the outside. And I don't have anything on the inside front cover. I just had this as you would see in the sewing video. Those of you who don't sew probably won't watch the sewing video. Um, but anyway, so what I did was I went online and I looked for African animal clip art, and I got PNGs, which means they're transparent. And I went ahead and I got a small collection of those so that I could print them out on my own coffee dyed or tea dyed paper, and then I could use those as elements through the journal. So that's something for you to think about. And if you don't have a program on your computer, you can go and get images like this and take them to Canva, and you can lay them out and then print them out, and you can have pages where you have some images of your choice. And then I just took a little ink and scrubbed over a little bit of color just to kind of give them a little anchor. So here's my kit. I put that in the sewing video. I found this really nice scrapbook paper at a thrift store just a couple of days before I was going to do the S for the videos. And it has all that beautiful paper. And I went into my stash and I had found this fabric at a yard sale last year. So I put the two together and went, okay, that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, so this is the pack of paper that inspired a whole lot of what was going on in here. And then so there was the fabric and there was that paper. And the thing that happened to get all of this fraying is I wound up with a lot of thread and I kept it and I wound up using it, and I've never done that before. So there's a lot of firsts. First time making a belt, first time making a cover just like this, a lot of firsts. And this is the first time that I've gone and gotten some PNG files so that I could print things out and add something. So a lot of firsts. So this is a pocket. And this is just a little writing card. This could be this book belongs to kind of thing, or the name of the journal. I'm just calling it the Safari Journal because of the paper. It was the Safari collection of paper. So you'll see that throughout. And here's some of the threads. And this is actually more of a folio. This is a coffee filter that I coffee dyed some of the coffee filters. So this one is more of a folio. This is that piece of paper, and then I just folded it. I folded it up on this side. So I'm going to talk through some of these constructions because I didn't film them. I'm sorry, I didn't film them. But they're pretty straightforward. Now this file folder kind of thing is something that Margreth has. If you go to Seven Plaza and where there's that little magnifying glass for the search for her channel, you can type in file folder and she shows you how to make this kind of little file folder sort of thing. It's a European style. This is a writing board, so I just made a nice solid writing board to go in here. And I found that before I put these on, everything is just flopping open. The journal is too new. It hasn't had a chance to flatten out. So I went ahead and just put these are just brads, and there's just a piece of tape on the inside just to cover up the brad. And I did this just kind of at the last minute so that it would help hold the writing board inside this file folder. On this side, so this was a 12 by 12 sheet of paper that I left. I folded it in half at 6 inches. And on this side, here's the rest of the 12 by 12. Let's see, is that all in the camera? Yeah, that's all in the camera. So this is the rest of the 12 by 12. So I just cut it this way, and I've cut off half of this and put it up here, and I had to use another sheet of paper to add that. This is a pocket. A pocket I haven't filled. Actually, I haven't filled the envelopes. I had tea dyed these envelopes, and these are hinged with, it's just white artist tape. It's an off-white masking tape. And I've done this in other videos, so I should have demonstrated it. But if you've got some kind of slick paper. You can put the tape on it because this is a label release paper, and you put the tape on it. You can ink it. You can turn it into your own washi tape. I think for the W Day, I will do a short washi tape video and show you how to make your own washi tape. That would be a good thing. Let me know if you need that. So these are envelopes. I don't have anything in the envelopes at this time. One of the things I do when I sell my journals, and I do sell my journals, this will be in my Etsy shop. Actually, when you see the video, it will be in my Etsy shop. And this is just some hemp cord. So this is a piece of the fabric from the cover. I had some leftovers, and I just stitched it onto that page so that it holds the envelopes and this flap closed. And then this side is the file folder. And you can see it's just being held in with the elastic. So this is more of a folio. This isn't really a signature because there's no pages in it. So this is a folio. So that's the first thing in this journal, and it's just a little writing spot. Another one of those PNGs. So this is a journal within a journal. I still had this nice piece of fabric, so I decided I would sew on a pocket. And you can see I had fun with those fibers. I just punched out 2 circles and glued it all down. And it's just, I think it looks really cool. I love playing with the fibers. I know I'll be doing that again. And then on the inside, I sewed belly bands on the inside of this piece of fabric. And then I added a signature inside that. So these are just sewn on, and everything, I frayed all of this stuff myself. It didn't come that way. I frayed it all. Now this one was fun. I have some of the zebra paper from that paper pack. And this is just a brad with some more of the buttons. This is another coffee filter, another little scrap of the fabric with a little leopard face there. So I made these little mini folios to get tucked in. I made 2 of those. And then I made these there's some more of that images. I printed out and then I cut the paper. So this is just a little 8 sides to write on. Just something really simple. But again, there's the threads. They're glued on with a little punch out. And oh my God, at one of the thrift stores, I got this bunch of packets that had stamps in them, postage stamps. Well, I was like, hey, we can always use postage stamps. Well, they turned out to be a ton of postage stamps from the Netherlands and Africa. And I looked it up online. I found a site that shows stamps, and this is there was a set of 4, and that's the rhinoceros. And I put that one there because there's a rhinoceros. So I paired those up. I wasn't able to do it for everything. And then this paper has a silhouette of a rhinoceros on it. So this one got really coordinated. It's the only one I could get really coordinated. So I went ahead and I used these 4 postage stamps from Republic of South Africa. Isn't that cool? I love how that looks. Again, I've never worked with fibers like this before. I love it. And there's a zebra, and I was able to punch out a little zebra stripe. I didn't have a zebra image though, but I didn't have a stamp with a hippopotamus, so we just got a little bit of 2 things going there. So this is just a little folio. And I tuck that in there. There we go. Okay. So I also printed out these parrots, and I think that's called a macaque monkey. I'm not sure. You can correct me. And the branches that each of these things was sitting on from the program were just tiny little short things. So when I cut them out, I fussy cutted them out. I just added on and inked to make the branches longer so that I could fit them on this beautiful paper the way I did. So that came out really cool. So those were also those PNG images. Oh, this is a really unique thing. Let's see, this, yeah, so it's okay, it's in there too. Okay. So this is a signature inside of a mini journal, inside of a journal. That's just what I did. I thought, well, I have the fabric, I've got this whole, I could have made two whole journals, but this is what I wound up doing. So anyway, yes, so this is a signature that's also in kind of a journal as a whole that's inside of a bigger journal. Very different. I've never done anything like that before. This is just a little piece of torn paper, a little rubber stamp, and a little chimp, another one of the PNG images. So these are some of my coffee dyed papers. And as far as the lines are concerned, I just went ahead into my document program and I just made myself a document with lines going the opposite, on the horizontal direction, the landscape direction on pages. So I could print them out in my printer and then fold them in half so that I could use them in my journals. So this is a page that I printed. I just laid out the animals and I used a little bit of ink on a let's see, I think I had, oh, there it is. I just used one of these little makeup applicators to rub on some of the inks because the animals were just floating in the air. And I always like to set them down on the ground. So I just used a little dark brown and a little touch of black and just put it underneath them to create this shadow effect. So that's all I used. So that's just so it's a writing journal. But this is something that's really cool. So this is kind of like a little folio flip out, and this is vellum. I just did a little bit of stamping on vellum. I cut it into 4 pieces, and it flips up. And all I did with the vellum is I glued the pages together at the top, and then I cut out this little strip and glued that to the top of it and hinged it. So you don't see the glue, there's no staples. I just put a thin line of glue at the top of each of these little pages. That's all. Just did that. And then, of course, this is stenciling. This is a rubber stamp, and this is stenciling. Now, what's cool about these? Oh, Tanya, I'll have to put a link. I watched her video um, on these pockets kind of thing, is this little flip out and stuff. And I thought, oh, that's really cool. So I wanted to use it here. And I just stitched down the middle. But this is, yeah, actually, I don't remember. I don't quite remember how I did that. I did it though. But what's cool about this is, okay, in all of those African postage stamps were these gorgeous stamps of traditional headdresses of these Southwest, this is SWA, so Southwest Africa. There were 4 of these in the series. I found them online. I wanted to look them up. And this was a series from 1982. And these are gorgeous. I mean, look at, aren't those beautiful? Aren't they amazing? And I knew that some of the African cultures dress their hair with mud. They use red mud, and that's how they're actually sculpting their hair. And there were 4 of them, and I just couldn't bear to glue them in. So I made this writing tag, and I put all of these, look at these beautiful, beautiful images and these women and the hair. Isn't that amazing? And these 4 stamps were a series from 1982, and I just couldn't bear to glue them on, but I wanted to use them. So I put them in these little plastic bags So whoever winds up with this journal, these stamps are still uncirculated. They're brand new stamps and they're protected in these acid-free, little safe plastic bags. So they're a collector item for someone who's really interested. I just couldn't bear to glue them down. I just thought they were so beautiful. So that's why they're in the little plastic bag. So so that was something that was kind of a very different sort of thing. I used the fabric. So you can see I used the fabric here. I just put the brad all the way through and then I glued this side of the fabric down to cover the brad. Oh, and this was a piece of it was just a piece of cardstock that I was doodling on, and I just had some leftover brown acrylic paint, and I just painted over the whole thing. And it's a perfectly there it is. This is just a belly band. Okay, so there's that. And I hadn't had an elephant in anything yet, and I went, well, I have to have an elephant in this. Very important. So this is from that scrapbook paper pack. So just something simple to tuck into the pocket over here. Okay, so that's a signature that's a journal within a journal. And this one is kind of the same thing because what I did you can see here, I did sew it. This one is also sewn. I did sew this one. So there's the elastic and there's the sewing. So this whole thing is sewn and could come out because it's only elastic is holding it in. And this one also, it is sewn and just the elastic is holding it inside the cover. So this is another pretty piece from that paper pack. And these are just some layers, some cardstock, some of the fabric that I frayed, and then another little piece and a couple of little brads. This cheetah, again, it was something I printed out from the PNG files and fussy cut it. So you can, I've even fussy cut it between the legs and did a little inking all the way around. This is actually a Tim Holtz pattern. It's a stencil. And I just went ahead and added some writing lines on the inside cover. Let's see, which one is that? Uh, Here it is. Stampers Anonymous. It's one of the Tim Holtz collection. Let me see if I've got the package here. Oh well, I'm not going to search for it. But at any rate, it's one of his, and I went, well, that's very much like a mud cloth design. So that was perfect. And so this is just some of my coffee and tea dyed paper, some with lines, some without. So it could be a sketchbook as well as a writing. This was an offcut that I just folded up. Actually, no, I didn't fold this one up. This was the offcut just by itself. And I just glued on a couple of pockets. And this again is just punched out those little circles. This was a little scrappy bit left. That's some more of the fabric that I frayed. I had a lot of fun with this fabric. This is just a couple of little pieces, little offcuts. And again, here's a writing card. Fun. There's the back of it. And at the very back, I sewed in a pocket, which you can see in the sewing video. And this is another one of those little folios. So another of the coffee filter. And this one, for some reason, when I folded it, I didn't fold it at the same place when I was turning it in, so it's offset. But that's okay, right? Um, so here's another one of those postage stamps from 1982. These are a series of 4 of the animals from 1982. Just so happened to have a little circle with the, I think that one is a leopard, and there's a leopard, and some more of the little stringy bits. And I did have a PNG of the leopard. And there's another one. So just like a little mini notes. I did something really different with these that I hadn't done before. So instead of sewing them or stapling them, what I did was when I had them all ready to go, you can see there's a little bit of a fold here. What I did was I just took the tip of my glue. I've been using this Barely Art Precision, and it's got the super fine tip. I just put a very fine bead of glue and shoved the folded page in, put another fine bead of glue, folded, the page was folded, so shoved that in, and then uh, let it glue itself. And I'll show you. Let's see. Where'd you go? There it is. So then I took my metal ruler and I just went in like just, that just over an eighth of an inch, pressed down really hard, and then folded the page back. So I was creating a hinge on those pages. So I just glued them together and it worked great. So I don't think you would want to do it for a whole lot of pages because then it gets really bulky on the fold. But see, it works. So anyway, that's what I did there. So there's another little folio, and that fits in that pocket. And we have a very chunky journal. And I don't like putting the belt over the zebra's eyes. There we go. My first belt. Yeah, actually, there's a lot of firsts in this journal. And I'm sure it won't be my last of doing some of these things. But I'm really pleased with this. I love it. I think it came out so beautiful. Oh, let me show you. I took a very just a few seconds of a video of what my desktop has looked like for the past 4 days. Yeah, I work in a crowd with the whole desktop. It's a table, and I just cover it with, it's just as I'm getting stuff out, and then I get on a roll. I'm in a mode, and I just keep going, and yeah, it winds up being quite cluttered. But it's my happy place, and this is the result. So, yes, I'm going to put some things in the envelopes. One of the things that I do when I sell journals is I provide lots of offcuts. So there's a little bit of fabric left. So, and there's some offcuts and things like that. So I put together like a little kit. So if somebody wants to make their own tags or whatever they want to do, there's parts and pieces. I don't have enough of this fabric. That's it. That's all I've got. There's just a little square and a few little bits left. So yeah, I just want to pass that on to whoever becomes the owner of this journal. So it is available in my Etsy shop, and I really love it. But it's like when I do a painting or anything else, it's like my joy has been in the making of it, and now I'm ready for it to move on so that someone else can add their joy to it. I I hope there was inspiration here for you. And if there's something that I did here that you would like me to make a specific video on, I would love to do that. I'd be very happy to do that. So just let me know. Um, I think that's all for now. This is the S day of ABC April 2025, and I'm sure you will find lots of wonderful things to inspire you. I thank you so much for watching. All right. See you next time. Bye for now.